Pyareo, this fire that you see, it's burning. This fire that you see right now, this will go out tonight. It will, in a matter of a few minutes, within an hour or so. But I request you, don't let that fire of the pant that's inside of your heart ever go out. मैं थोड़े अगे एक बेनती करनी है. We laugh now. ठीक है? But when okay समय come upon the panth, when blood is spilt, when Guru Sikhs are burned alive, these faces that laugh then, they become very few. बहुत थोड़े हो जाते हैं. Do you have the ability to laugh in the face of death? Or do you turn your face away from it? एक आम हसना आया, एक परमात्मा दे रंग विच हसना आया. There's one laughing when you laugh with the world, and there's one type of laughing that is done in the experience being imbued in Paramatma. When the time came of Bhai Mati Das ji, their body is being cut into two halves. It came down 6 inches into their forehead. The person that was cutting, he stepped back because he said, I cannot do this anymore because when I look at his face, he laughs back at me. Can you laugh like that? Kade hasna aaya? Or do we just laugh at each other always? Do we laugh at other people's mistakes, other people's ogan? Kade rang vich jod ke hasya? When Bhai Taru Singh ji, their khopdi is being hit, there was a smile on their face as they began to recite Japji Sahib. As they spoke the words, Socha, Soch na hovai je sochi lakhwar, there was blood coming down their lips as they smiled, as they laughed. Have you ever looked deep within yourself to find that laughter, to find that khushi? Have you ever looked in the mirror in the morning and have you seen Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha looking back at you? That smile, those pearl-like lips that Bhai Nandlal Ji says, Qadar lale bajuz, ashak nadanad hech kash. The O Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha, only the true lovers know your true qeemat. Rang hasse rang rove chup pi kar jahe. What your true laughter. When you laugh, when you smile, all the bhagats, their hearts tremble. They shake, they get imbued in your love. Par jede aam sansari lok hai na, the people of the world, they'll never be able to understand this. Meri ye beinti hai, look into this fire. Your fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha, sat upon fire. Have you ever looked at fire and seen Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha sitting upon it? Have you ever seen a stove? Have you looked at a stove and have you been able to see Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha on it? When you go to the beach and you laugh, when you go on vacations, the sand that you walk upon, have you ever looked at that sand and seen that sand being poured upon Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha's seas? When you travel, when you look at buildings, you see gatherings. And amongst these gatherings, have you ever seen Guru Tegh Bahadur Sache Pacha sitting there? Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha, as they sat upon fire, the deg being boiled and hot sand being poured upon their head, them being in complete shanti, in complete bliss, at that moment, Sai Mian Mir comes up, folds their hands and says, Sache Pacha, what is this that's going on? Why am I having to see these days that you're in pain? Sache Pacha, what's going on? Can you explain? Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha says, I'm about to plant a seed. This seed that I'm planting now is going to grow into such a plant. When this plant grows, it's going to have a fruit. This fruit that comes out of this plant is going to go into the city of Delhi. It's going to spread its nectar all across the city of Delhi. And in that moment, there will be a qurbani being done. That's one fruit. There's going to be 4 flowers on this plant. 2 of the flowers, they will go into the Gadi of Chamkaur. 2 of these flowers, they will be bricked alive. But when the blood is spilt of these shaheeds, pyaro ek gal yaad rakhyo, that this plant lives off of the blood of the shaheeds. And the truth is that because of the blood spilt of these 5 blossoming flowers, because of the blood spilt of these 5 blossoming flowers, that's going to be enough blood spilt to keep this plant fully watered with this blood until the end of time. This plant will never ever become dry. This blood that's being spilt, it'll never ever become dry, it'll never finish. ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, these fires, this heat, you sit here and you feel cold now. Oh, ye raat yaad kariyo, in this month of Po, when the Chote Sahibzade are sitting at the top of the Thanda Burj, you are surrounded by trees, you have a fire in front of you. There was no fire. There was no trees to protect you from that wind. Imagine the beautiful teeth of Baba Fateh Singh Ji chattering away in that wind. Imagine Mata Gujar Kaur Ji embracing and giving her bodily heat to both of these Chote Sahibzade. These stories are being put in their ears. Your brothers have been killed. Your father's been killed. That blood that's spilt there. Have you ever looked in the mirror when you tie your dastar in the morning and you take your baj and you make yourself look all pretty? Have you looked at that dastar and have you been able to see the stains of blood of the Chote Sahibzade? Have you ever been able to look at your dada and see it drenched with the blood of Bhai Taru Singh Ji? When you put your hands together today and you're saying they're cold, have you ever looked at your hands and seen every joint? And have you seen Bhai Mani Singh Ji's blood coming out of each and every joint? Have you ever looked in your veins and seen the blood of these great Gursikhs, these Singhs and Singhniya that you remember in every ardas when you fold your hands? Have you ever looked at the veins in your hand and have you seen the blood of those sheeds moving through those veins? We don't have the ability to look. You can laugh now. But when that time comes of death, can you laugh then? Or are you going to be shattering and chattering in fear? तेरे सेवक को पाओ किछ नहीं जम नहीं आवे नेड़ा प्यारियो मेरे नाल बोलियो तेरे सेवक को पाओ किछ नहीं जम नहीं आवे नेड़ा मेरे राम राय तू संतां का संत तेरे you are the saints and the saints are yours. ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਅੰਤਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ. This panth survives on those shaheeds. That's why we remember this month of Po. ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਨਾ, Bhai Veer Singh writes this beautifully. They say people say history is something that's written in books. It's stacked on shelves, locked away in libraries, and then it's for the scholars to read. Nahi, Bhai Veer Singh says history is not happening 500 years ago. It's not happening 300 years ago. History is happening right now. It's not engraved on paper with ink. No, it's engraved with those shastras of those shaheeds inside of my heart, and when I close my eyes, I look inside of my heart, I see those Shaheed Singhs, I see that ityas happening at this very moment. This ityas lives on. There was a time when Gursikhs used to gather like this, in the middle of these jungles. No idea where their home is, no idea where their family is, no idea where their children are. They would gather, listen to ityas katha in the evening, gather together, and they would have a conversation. One person said that in the history today, we learned that Baba Sahib Zada, Zorawar Singh, Baba Fateh Singh, they've been captured. They've been given the command that they're going to become Shaheed. What is going to happen in tomorrow's katha, we don't know. One person says that Baba Fateh Singh, he's very smart. He's going to be able to plan something, he's going to be able to escape. The other person says, Nahi, Baba Ajit Singh is going to arrive. He's going to free everyone. And the third Gursikh says that no, Mata Gujar Kaur ji has a plan. No, Baba Fateh Singh is going to take a knife and kill Wazir Khan. They're planning different plots. They're talking about it as if the Shaheedi is actually going to happen tomorrow. But Pyareo, they all know exactly what happened. They all know the ityas. It's not something new to them. They're living in that moment as if they're in that history with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah right in front of them. Have you ever looked at your Shastar and seen the grip of those Gursikhs sleeping in Chamkaur di Gadi, where they've been holding on to these Shastars for months and months in battles on end? As they pull their hands off the Shastars, their skin peels off with it. They have blisters on their hands. There's dry blood on these Shastars. Pyareo, when Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah, they left Chamkaur di Gadi. Chamkaur di Gadi. They traveled. When you look at this ground in these jungles today, can you see the blood prints? Have you ever looked on the ground and have you seen the blood prints of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah? When you see the rocks, have you ever seen Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah putting their head down? Do you have the ability to look? Do you even try to look? Or are you just going to laugh your life away? Live in the moment, Pyareo. Kalgitar Paatshah in Anandpur Sahib, the beautiful home that these instruments are being played in. The Chote Sahibzade, they're being born. Baba Ajit Singh, the eldest son, they're riding with Jujar Singh, riding into the forest. They teach Jujar Singh how to hunt, how to fight, how to travel, how to do Kirtan. Everything was taught. Baba Ajit Singh, Pyareo, is that beautiful being. When Guru Gobind Singh Ji came back from the Battle of Bangani at the age of 16, they recited the words, Bhai Jeet Meri Kirpa Kal Keri. I won this battle only because of Akal Purkh's grace. Mata Jito Ji comes out and they say, on this day, your first Sahibzada has been born, Baba Ajit Singh. And they pick up, imagine Guru Gobind Singh Ji holding Baba Ajit Singh Ji for the first time. Guru Kalgitar Paatshah Antarjami, knowing that this child one day is going to be pierced with arrows in front of my eyes. Kalgitar Paatshah, as they put their hand on their chest, they know that there's going to be holes and spears going through this flesh. As they look at this beautiful face of Baba Ajit Singh, and they name them Baba Ajit Singh, the one that can never ever be won, the world will say that death is how people lose. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah knows exactly what's going to be happening with Baba Ajit Singh. Yet they say, nahi, eda naam kiya, they say eda naam Ajit ya. Victorious, forever victorious, the one that can never be won over. Baba Ajit Singh today is playing in Anandpur Sahib. They're taking the Chote Sahibzade, the younger ones, and they're embracing them. They read them bedtime stories. They teach them about the ityas of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sache Paatshah, Vadde Vadere. They learn. The time comes when it comes time to leaving Anandpur Sahib. When Aurangzeb had circled around Anandpur Sahib for months and months on end, there was no food, there was no water, nothing left. People were dying to the extent where mothers, they would take their urine and they would feed it to the children because there was nothing left to drink. You get thirsty after 2 hours, you're saying it's cold, and you want to laugh? Imagine trying to cut off your own flesh, cooking it on this fire, and then feeding it to your children so they can survive. You take pictures of your puppies and kittens. Imagine Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah's Prashadi Hathi, the beautiful elephant that's been decorated. Sache Paatshah would travel on it. The one that the entire land would praise. Such a beautiful elephant. Today this elephant with hunger is starving, is crying, is wailing, and right in front of Kalgitar Paatshah's eyes, this elephant falls to the ground and breathes his last breath because of hunger. When you go to the zoos and laugh, when you look at these elephants, do you look at it with the same eyes that Guru Gobind Singh Ji had to look at it with? Aurangzeb says that we make a promise, we swear upon the Quran that we won't attack. Even after they had already attacked the cart that was full of broken dishes, dead animal bones, old clothes. They had attacked it. They said, no, you leave Anandpur Sahib, we won't attack Kalgitar Paatshah. They mentioned this in Zafarnama, saying that I have no trust in them, yet we have to go. The Sangat said we go. They all gather in the front. The Gursikhs, the army of the Khalsa is traveling. In between, Mata Gujri Ji is holding the Chote Sahibzade. And in the back, there is Pai Mani Singh Ji's son, Pai Uday Singh Ji. And Kalgitar Paatshah puts Baba Ajit Singh Ji, their eldest son, right at the back. The world is saying, why are they at the back? Pyareo, we don't realize that they're actually at the front of the battle. Even in those battles, Kalgitar Paatshah is always putting their son at the front. When people saw that what is Kalgitar Paatshah doing, people would say, we've never seen a man, we've never seen a king that's ever put their son at the front lines to be pierced by arrows in front of his own eyes. We've seen many kings. We heard about Rostam. We heard about Alexander. We heard about many people. But today we've seen a king in a way we've never seen one before. Have you seen Kalgitar Paatshah in that way? Have you looked? As they travel, Pyareo, you know this ityas, they get attacked from ambushed from the back. This jung takes place, arriving towards Sasa Nadi. In that moment, Kalgitar Paatshah, when the jung has taken place, Gursikhs have been fighting on end already for months and months. These Gursikhs were not plump like you, filled with shepherd pies. They're not filled with potatoes. Nahi Pyareo, when you look at them, they're like skeletons. Yet in each and every vein, they have Gurbani running through them. You think you feel cold now? You think you're sleepy now? Imagine fighting for 9 months on end, not knowing your family, not knowing when your next meal is going to be, not even remembering when your last meal was. In that moment, can you look at your own flesh and can you see those Shaheed Singhs walking on this path? ਇਹ ਰਸਤਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਔਖਾ ਆ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਬਹੁਤ ਔਖਾ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜੇ ਰੰਗ ਚੜ ਜਾਵੇ, if you get blessed to experience that ras, even those Gursikhs, they see Kalgitar Paatshah in the middle of that battle. Kalgitar Paatshah lays out a chadar, they sit down, there's a battle taking place around them. Kalgitar Paatshah says that today I want to hear Japji Sahib and Asa Diwar. You think you have it difficult? Your snooze button makes it difficult to do Nitnem? You didn't get 8.5 hours of sleep, so that's why you missed your Rara Sahib. Kalgitar Pacha in the middle of a battle, their son is fighting, their son is surrounded. Baba Ajit Singh is spinning their sword. Back and forth, Kalgitar Pacha says, it's time for my Asadivar. They play Asadivar. They listen. Kalgitar Pacha, they go towards Sarsa Nadi. It's raining. And just like a massive python, this river is overflowing with rain. When everyone crosses, the family gets separated. The Shote Sahibzade, Mata Gujri ji, they end up one side. Bhai Mani Singh ji, Mata Sahib Kaur ji and others, they flow down this river. They end up going to Hardwar and then Delhi. Kalgitar Pacha cross over to the other side, and with them they have a few Gursikhs left. With them is Baba Ajit Singh ji, Baba Jujar Singh ji. On the edge of that river, still fighting, Bhai Jeevan Singh ji had seen Baba Ajit Singh being surrounded. Bhai Jeevan Singh is Bhai Jetta ji that brought the cease back from Delhi, the cease of Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj. They traveled all those miles holding the head, the beautiful head of Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj in their Kambali, running through jungles like this, being chased. That same Bhai Jeevan Singh is standing. They go to save Baba Ajit Singh. Baba Ajit Singh had crossed. Them fighting and fighting in that place. The son of Bhai Mani Singh ji becomes Shaheed. There's one Gursikh left on this side of the river. The army has completely come in between the mountains. There is only one person. Pyareo, this Jakara that you just heard, this is how Gursikhs used to greet each other in the middle of a jungle. There was no cell phones or texts. You would be walking in the jungles in the middle of the night, you hear a Gursikh Jakara, and you know there's hope. That happened right in front of you right now. But Bhai Uday Singh is alone on this side of the Sarsa Nadi now. That's it. They have the full army in front of them. Aurangzeb, Wazir Khan, all of their Faujan put together in front of them. They have a python like Sarsa Nadi behind them. Kalgitar Pacha had crossed. They're standing at the edge of this river. They take their kirpan. They continue to fight. All arrows, spears, bullets are shot. There wasn't a place on Bhai Uday Singh ji's body, the eldest son of Bhai Mani Singh ji. They breathed their last breath, but Pyareo, on their face was a smile. That is how you laugh in the face of death. Tere sevak ko pau kich jam nahi aave neede. There's no fear. Bhai Uday Singh stands and faces death at that moment. Kalgitar Pacha had crossed. They go, they travel to Ropat. The Gursikhs there, they're given from them a kachi gadi. Kachi meaning it's not bricks, it's not cooked, it's dirt, and it's a fort. The Gursikhs there, they say, Sache Pacha, we have nothing else to offer, but instead of open grounds like this, at least you can go into a fort. They leave Bhai Bachittar Singh, the other son of Bhai Mani Singh ji, who's been wounded in that battle at Sarsa Nadi. They leave them in a house at Nihang Khan's house. They travel into this kachi gadi. They walk in. They grab the dirt, the raw dirt off of that kachi gadi, and it falls into their hand. They blow on it. It flies in the air. And when that dirt touches the ground, Bhai Daya Singh comes up behind them and says, Sache Pacha, what is this that you're doing with this dirt? Kalgitar Pacha says that this dirt that is touching this ground today, the dirt of this kachi gadi that's touching this ground today, there will come a time when thousands will travel to this place and they'll pick up this dirt and they'll apply it to their matha. This dirt is blessed with the blood of those shaheeds. Have you ever looked at dirt and seen it that way? Have you looked? That night, the sun goes down. Wazir Khan's armies are coming. Everyone knows. Kalgitar Pacha. They go into this fort. The Gursikhs, they have nothing left on them. Everything was lost in Sarsa Nadi. They only have their horses, the horses' saddles. But they say, Sache Pacha, you are the king of kings. When you face difficulties, you think of your own comfort. Can you let go of all your comforts and completely give it to Kalgitar Pacha there? The Gursikh says, Sache Pacha, you are the king of kings. We need to give you your throne. Sache Pacha, we have nothing else left. So they take the saddles off the horses. They take the cloth that's underneath that saddle, between the horse and the saddle, they lay it down on the ground. They take all the horses' saddles, they put them together, and they make a throne for Maharaj to sit upon. Maharaj sits upon these horses, this throne. And for the rest of the Gursikhs, whatever there's left, some sleep on the ground, some sleep on this chadar, some sleep on horses' saddles using them as pillows. They make 2 spots right beside Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha's place for the Vadde Sahibzade. That night, 2 Gursikhs, they stand outside this fort. They're holding their karpana, ready for any ambush. Kalgitar Pacha goes up to them and says, "We Gursikho, today let me do pera. Let me stand on guard for you today. You've stood on guard." And as soon as Kotha Singh looks at Kalgitar Pacha, they say, "Sache Pacha, why are you awake in the middle of the night? Everyone's gone to sleep." As he's speaking, Kalgitar Pacha put up one finger and they say, "Nahi. Nahi, aaj nahi. Not tonight. Kal nu ki pata ki hona. Tomorrow we don't know if any of these things here, they know. There's no guarantee of them getting rest the next day. Let them have this last rest tonight." Kalgitar Pacha says, "Let me stand on guard today." They go to sleep. Kalgitar Pacha that night, Allah Yar Khan Yogi describes, they go. They look at each and every Gursikh. Some of them, they're the stars. They've been wearing them for days and days on end. Those the stars that were loose, Kalgitar Pacha reties them. Those wounds that had not been bandaged, Kalgitar Pacha bandages them. Sache Pacha, they look at the feet of these Gursikhs. They see the thorns in the bottom of those feet. Kalgitar Pacha begins to pick out those thorns. As Sache Pacha is cleaning these wounds, as Sache Pacha is cutting these tears, Kalgitar Pacha looks at the feet and they even begin to kiss the feet of these Gursikhs. Have you ever seen your feet and seen them so worthy that Kalgitar Pacha is going to kiss them? You bow down to Kalgitar Pacha's feet, Pyareo. That night was there when Kalgitar Pacha kissed the feet of the Khalsa Panth. You can do all pedicures, manicures that you want, but Kalgitar Pacha will not kiss that feet. The feet that has thorns, the foot that walks the path of the Guru, the foot that never leaves the Guru's side. Kalgitar Pacha in the middle of the night, even you may not know it, Kalgitar Pacha comes to those Gursikhs' beds, their feet, and Sache Pacha kisses their feet. इन्हीं की कृपा से सजे हम हैं, नहीं मोसो गरीब करोड़ परे. खालसा मेरी जान की जान, खालसा मेरो पिंड प्राण, खालसा मेरो सज्जन सूरा. Those are the words of Kalgitar Pacha. सेव करी इन्हीं की पावत और की सेव सोहात न जी को दान दिया इन्हीं को पलो और आन को दाना लागत नहीं तो I give everything if I'm going to do donation for the Khalsa Panth, if seva for the Khalsa Panth, my mind, my body, my wealth, my health, everything is gone to the Khalsa Panth. Because these feet that are laying here tonight, Kalgidhar Pacha knows there may not come a time when they may be able to walk again on this earth, in this physical body. The morning comes, the sun arises, Wazir Khan's army, 10 lakh, meaning 1 million, plus another 4 lakh that's on its way for reinforcements. You have 1.4 million people and 1 million surrounding at that area. Kalgidhar Pacha stands that morning. When they say, leave this gadi, we'll spare your lives. Kalgidhar Pacha themselves shoot an arrow. The arrow flies through and begins this battle. These Gursikhs, they play these nagare. When you hear this nagara, have you ever heard this nagara and felt the heartbeat of those Gursikhs standing at Chamkaur di Gadi that night, that day? The sun is rising over the mountains. And in that moment, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha, they grab their quiver, fill it with arrows, stand at the top. Wazir Khan army comes close. They put up a ladder to get to the top of this gadi. They climb up to the top. And as they climb up to the top, Nar Khan looks up, looks in to see how many people are actually in this gadi. Kalgidhar Pacha, they grab their arrow and their bow, they pull it back, and they shoot an arrow straight in between the eyebrows of that Mughal. Falls to the ground. Next person tries coming up in ladder. Kalgidhar Pacha takes a spear and puts it right through their chest. The third person has now seen death. He trembles. He hides behind the wall. He starts swearing at Kalgidhar Pacha. When he starts swearing, the beautiful Lal Baba Ajit Singh Ji, they take out their Qurban, they point it at this coward, and they say, run away from here, spare your life. If you speak one more word against the Guru, you will be cut to bits here and there. Pyareo, Baba Ajit Singh Ji, at the age of 15, they were the full general of the Khalsa army. It's not 15-year-old and we'll teach you how to drive now. It's not 15 years old and now you can get a credit card. It's not 15 years old and now on youth the youth no agge lavange. It's not a youth upralla at 15. No, the full general of this army, and this is the way it should be for you as well. Baba Ajit Singh Ji, standing in that battle, Gursikhs begin to go out. As they travel out, Gursikhs become shaheed, one by one by one. There was a maryada during that time, pyareo, aaj bhi lagu hua, that whenever a Gursikh would become shaheed in the middle of a battle, for the chardi kala and remembrance of that person's life, all of the things would do a jakara. When the first Gursikh goes out, falls to the ground, all the Gursikhs inside, all you hear inside is Bolay Soneha Thartan. Everyone else outside is thinking, how many people are in there? The amount of arrows that are flying through the air. Somebody was saying there was only maybe 20 people, maybe 50 people, maybe 80 people. But the amount of arrows, the amount of voices, the power on these voices, it seems like there's thousands and thousands and thousands. Gursikhs are becoming shaheed one by one by one. Pyareo, there comes that time when the Gursikhs go to Kalgidhar Pacha and they say, hey Sache Pacha, you have to leave this area. You have to leave Chamkaur di Gadi. Guru Gobind Singh Ji says no. They tie their kamar kassa and they say, Aj main bhi jana hai jang de vich. I'm going to go as well. They say, nahi Sache Pacha, you can create thousands of us. But we can't even create one of you. We don't have that power. Baba Jeet Singh Sache Pacha. Baba Jeet Singh steps up and say, Kalgitar Pacha, send me into this battle. Bhai Daya Singh, this Gursikh that played with Baba Jeet Singh when they were young, fed them, taught them, took care of them as a child. This same Bhai Daya Singh is looking into the eyes of Baba Jeet Singh and is saying, Nahi, you're our future. Without you, we have nothing. Baba Jeet Singh, you cannot go into this battle. Why would you say such a thing? Kalgitar Pacha, they bless them. They get them ready with their own hands. They take their kirpan, their shastar, they hand it over to Baba Jeet Singh Ji. Baba Jeet Singh Ji takes that shastar. They spin it around. They practice. They jump upon the horse and they ride out. Gursikhs go with them. Sounds come that this is the son of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Let's kill him right at once. Arrows are being shot. Baba Jeet Singh, they begin shooting with their arrow. As they're shooting their arrow, they shoot arrows and arrows. Their arrows are going to 2-3 people at a time. They're falling to the ground. The army is coming in and in, yet it's being shot down like targets. Baba Jeet Singh riding on their horse, maneuvering through everybody. But that quiver was limited. That quiver runs out of arrows. There's no more arrows left. When there's no more arrows left, Baba Jeet Singh resorts to their spear. They take their barcha, they spin it around. It spins like lightning. As they're spinning it around like lightning, one by one by one, they're poking through these targets. All of the other Gursikhs with them had all become shaheed. One by one, they've all merged into Paramatma. They left their body like clothes here. Kalgitar Pacha is standing at the top and they watch their Sahibjada. That moment when they returned from Panganing the battle, they saw this child for the first time. And today they're looking at Baba Jeet Singh Ji and they're saying, now in their mind they're thinking that the thing that the daat that you had given to me, now I'm giving back to you. Tera tujhko saump de kya lag hai mera. It's all yours, Sache Pacha. Paramatma teri zaraza vich khoshiyan. They went fighting into this battle. Baba Jeet Singh pokes their spear into the chest of one of the enemies. It goes into their chest. And when it goes into their chest, because of the chainmail armor, the tip of that barcha, the spear bent, and it wasn't coming out. Because it wasn't coming out, their spear broke there. They had no spear. So they took out one kirpan. They picked up another kirpan. They began to fight. As they're fighting with their kirpan on their horse, they shoot arrows. The horse of Baba Jeet Singh becomes shaheed. Now they're stranded on the ground, surrounded by enemies. They're fighting one by one. They kick one. They cut off the head of one. They cut off the arm. The arrow comes and hits them in the knee. They cut off the arrow so they continue fighting. Arrows are hitting them from the side, from the back, from the front. In the midst of these arrows being fired, they're cutting one by one by one. When Baba Jeet Singh Ji is completely surrounded, Kalgitar Pacha is standing at the top, Bhai Daya Singh Ji is standing on the side, Baba Alam Ji is standing on the side, Bhai Tarb Singh Ji is standing on the side. Their younger brother Baba Jujar Singh Ji is standing at the top. Everybody is witnessing this. They write that nobody has ever seen this in the history of any faith, of any region, of any time, of any yog, where Kalgitar Pacha is sending out their own son. The beautiful form of God is stepping out into this battlefield, surrounded, arrows, spears, bullets. They got shot directly from the top of the head to the bottom of Baba Jeet Singh Ji's feet. Arrows pierce through Baba Jeet Singh Ji's body. When these arrows go and hit, Baba Jeet Singh Ji looks back. They show Kalgitar Pacha that look, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha, oh my beloved father, look at you at the top of this beautiful Chamkaur di Gadi. I took all the arrows on my chest, but not a single arrow was hit on my back. Oh my beloved father, I fought in this battle for you, but I did not turn back. No arrow hit me in the back. They look towards Kalgitar Pacha. They fall to the ground, and as they utter these words, WhyGuru, 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 WhyGuru. The eyes of Baba Ajit Singh Ji, they close forever. And in that moment, Pyareo, the maryada that was being done for every Gursikh when they become Shaheed, that they would do a Jakara. Nobody had the himmat, nobody had the guts to do it. Now everybody, even by Daya Singh Ji's, their jaws just stopped. Nobody had any Shakti left. So Kalgitar Pacha, they do a Jakara themselves. They utter these words that everything that was given from you, O Sache Pacha, O Paramatma, I've fulfilled it. I've given it back to you now. There's no pain. Earlier when Gursikhs were saying that, why are you sending your Sahibzade? You and your Sahibzade need to leave. Kalgitar Pacha had even uttered these words. They say that, what do you mean, which Sahibzade are you talking about? Aren't all of you my Sahibzade? Aren't all of you my sons and daughters? Have you ever looked at yourself? Can you call yourself the child of Guru Gobind Singh Ji? Have you looked and yourself in the mirror and said that? Baba Jujhar Singh Ji steps up. They say, my father, O Akal Purkh, I've done everything with Baba Ajit Singh in my entire life. I've never done anything without my beloved brother. From eating, to fighting, to hunting, to doing Kirtan, to studying, to traveling, to doing seva. Everything I learned from Baba Ajit Singh Sache Pacha. Today I've learned how to become Shaheed as well. But my brother told me that just knowing something isn't enough. Let me go and put this knowledge that my brother taught me into practice. Bhai Daya Singh Ji is thinking, no, he's the only Ansbans left that we know of. We don't know anything about the Chote Sahibzade. We don't know what's going on. Kalgitar Pacha, they take out a shastra from their own kamarkasa. They hand it to Baba Jujhar Singh. They take Baba Jujhar Singh, beautiful 14-year-old child. They bring their cease close to their chest and they kiss Baba Jujhar Singh right on the forehead. When the beautiful pearl-like lips kiss Baba Jujhar Singh Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in a very deep and soft voice, they say, oh my beloved son, this is the day that I've been waiting for. But please fulfill this day for me, that when you go and fight in this battle, make sure that you turn back and let me see your chest filled with arrows before you fall to the ground. Let me see those holes in your chest that spears have gone through. They send Baba Jujhar Singh out. Baba Jujhar Singh goes out into battle. Arrows are being shot at them. You find it difficult to dodge dodgeballs? Have you dodged 1 million soldiers shooting arrows, bullets and spears at you? In the midst of that, Baba Jujhar Singh Ji is fighting. As they fight, their spear breaks as well. They take their khanjar. They continue to fight. And in that midst of moment, they get surrounded, pushed with elephants, pushed with horses, all surrounded, and arrows, spears, they get shot into the chest of Baba Jujhar Singh Ji. Baba Jujhar Singh Ji falls to the ground, and Kalgitar Pacha themselves, they say another Jakara. In the midst of this battle, Pyareo, the two beloved Lals of Kalgitar Pacha, they fall into the ground. The sun is coming down over the mountains. Bhai Daya Singh Ji, Bhai Dharm Singh Ji, Bhai Sangat Singh Ji, many Gursikhs, they gather to Kalgitar Pacha and say, Sache Pacha, You've created us, we cannot create you. You must leave. When 5 Gursikhs, they stand and they focus on Kalgitar Pacha and say, Sache Pacha, we've been doing bentiyan, we've been making requests. But Sache Pacha, remember when you said that the Guru, Khalsa Panth is the Guru, and there's no difference? If Panj Pyare, they're the form of Kalgitar Pacha, they can even command the Guru what to do. Today these Gursikhs stand, they fold their hands in front of Sache Pacha and they say, hey Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Sache Pacha, as the beloved 5, we make this command to you, this request, that please leave Chamkaur di Gadi. Please save your life. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, before they had said no, they were beginning to prepare for battle to go and become shaheed themselves. When the Panj gave them hukum, they folded their hands, they walked around the Panj Pyare 3 times, did a parkarma, 3 times, walked around them and bowed down to the Panj Pyare. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Sache Pacha, they took their kalgi, they put it on the beautiful cease of Sangat Singh. Who was Sangat Singh? The day Kalgitar Pacha came into this physical world in the city of Patna, one day after that, Sangat Singh was born. They grew up together, they were best friends. They would crack jokes with each other. They would make fun of each other just like friends do. Bhai Sangat Singh's, their entire life was revolving around Kalgitar Pacha. And now everyone would even say that they look exactly like each other. The facial features, the length of their dada, the style of their dastar, the strength in their arms. Kalgitar Pacha takes their kalgi, puts it on the cease of Bhai Sangat Singh. They take their chola off and they put it on top of the shoulders of Bhai Sangat Singh. They take their shastras, they take their other chin, they take their har, their necklace off and put it upon these Gursikhs. Guru Gobind Singh Ji takes Bhai Daya Singh Ji, Bhai Dharm Singh Ji and Bhai Man Singh Ji. Kalgitar Pacha says that I am not leaving the battle, I'm going out into battle. They stand at the top of a tower in Chamkaur di Gadi. They say, Hinde Peer Meravad. Hinde Peer Meravad, which means the Peer of Hindustan, the king, is now leaving and going out. The king is now leaving and going out. They said, I'm going to announce the horn is blown of battle. The horn is blown to announce, to tell everyone that the battle is beginning. Kalgitar Pacha, they walk out. In this night, as they're walking, chaos goes amongst all of these people. In the midst, nobody knows where to go. Everybody's scrambling on the Mughal side. Shots are being fired. Nobody knows where Kalgitar Pacha is going. But Kalgitar Pacha, as they're walking towards Machiwadi, the jungle, a cloth wraps around their leg. Their foot gets stuck. When they're walking, they look down. And what was it? It was the torn and ripped chola of Baba Ajit Singh in the middle of that Chamkaur di Gadi. That cloth wrapped around Kalgitar Pacha's foot. They look down, and right beside this cloth, they see the beautiful face of Baba Ajit Singh Ji looking back up at them. That same face that looked up them after the Battle of Pangani, that same face is looking at them here at the night of Chamkaur di Gadi. Bhai Daya Singh Ji stops. This is Sache Pacha. They begin to open their kamar kassa. Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Oh Daya Singha, what are you doing? Ki kar rahe hain firda? Why are you opening your Kamar Kasa now? Bhai Daya Singh Ji stops and says, Kalgidhar Pacha, please tell me one thing. Please tell me, when you shoot arrows at the enemy, why do you put gold on it? Why is there gold in the middle of your arrows when you shoot them at enemies? Kalgidhar Pacha says, so that that gold can pay for the funeral of that person that's being shaheed. It can pay for the livelihood of the children of that soldier of the enemy. That's why there's gold on it. Bhai Daya Singh Ji Sache Pacha, if you have gold and you're giving it to the families of the enemies so that they can do the funeral of their deceased ones, Sache Pacha, please allow me to at least put a chadar on top of the face of Baba Ajit Singh Ji today. Please don't stop me. Let me at least cover his face. Let me give him this much respect. Kalgidhar Pacha, they said, Daya Singha, you don't have enough chadra to cover my Sahibzade. You only have one Kamar Kasa. Who's going to cover Baba Dhyan Singh? Who's going to cover Kotha Singh? Who's going to cover Himmat Singh? Who's going to cover Sahib Singh? Who's going to cover all of these Sahibzade of mine? Daya Singha, you don't have enough Kamar Kasa to open and lay out. Leave this body behind. Kalgidhar Pacha, they move on. They go into Machhiwade, the jungle. The bodies are left there. The next day, the Mughals, they do a halla, attack all at once. They go in. They make the rest of those Gursikh shaheed. Rola pe gaya that we've killed Guru Gobind Singh Ji after Bhai Sangat Singh became shaheed. Rola pe gaya. For days and days, this was the plan of Kalgidhar Pacha. They were confused until they realized that wasn't Kalgidhar Pacha. The roar of the lion is still echoing through the forests of Machhiwada. But Sachi Galya, the Khalsa Panth is always being taken care of. There was the next night, Bibi Sharan Kaur comes up into this fire. She makes a fire like this in the middle of that Chamkaur di Gadi, of that battlefield. She takes the bodies of Baba Ajit Singh Ji, she puts them in. She does sanskar of each and every Gursikh that's there. She's going and looking for the shastras, the long case. She's looking for the kade. She's looking for the kashari. She brings all of these Gursikhs and she puts them in the fire like this. When from far on the other side of the battlefield, the fire is seen. The enemy comes. They attack Bibi Sharan Kaur, who lived nearby. She took out her shastra. She began to fight. They took Bibi Sharan Kaur. They threw her in the fire because she was resisting too much. Have you ever looked at this fire and seen the body of Bibi Sharan Kaur Ji being burnt alive? This blood, the body of the Sahibzade, all of us are Sahibzade. We're royal, we're princes and princesses. Kalgidhar Pacha has done the funeral along with not just the Baba Ajit Singh, the Sahibzade, not along with Baba Jujhar Singh, along with every other Sahibzada that was there, becoming shaheed in the middle of Chamkaur di Gadi. And all of those brothers, the funeral was done with their sister Bibi Sharan Kaur. Pyareo, this fire that you see, it's burning. This fire that you see right now, this will go out tonight. It will, in a matter of a few minutes, within an hour or so. But I request you, don't let that fire of the Panth that's inside of your heart ever go out. whenever the Shaheeds are remembered, whenever and wherever the Shaheed Singhs arrive to that place to listen to it, do not think you're sitting here alone, Pyareo. I can say that with confidence. You're not the only ones listening to this prasang. Baba Ajit Singh is listening to this prasang. Baba Alam Singh, Baba Kotha Singh, Bibi Sharan Kaur. If you keep these stories of these Shaheeds living in loving remembrance inside of your hearts and minds, every beat of yours is that step of that Khalsa army. Pyareo, I guarantee you, you will never be left alone. Never difficulties will come in your life. Nobody can attack you. Nobody can hurt you. Death, even the messengers of death, they will fear you. मेरे राम राय तू संतां का संत तेरे सेवक को पोखच नाही जम नहीं आवे नेरे जिसके सिर ऊपर तू स्वामी सो दुख कैसा पावे. What I look at right now is the same form, the same roop, the same bana, the same shastras, the same pyar of those Shaheed Singhs and Singhaniya. They never leave. Everything is Paramatma, but these Gursikhs come back. They come and go as please. Gursikhs, when they die in the middle of the battlefield, Pyare, what is true love? Dying in the middle of the battlefield, Kalgitar Pacha, in many instances, they would pick up these Gursikhs. They say, what do you want? And these Gursikhs, they would say, Sache Pacha, we are dying in your lap. What can we ask for? The Maharaj says, there's a command you must ask. They say, Sache Pacha, we've heard that we get liberation if we die for you. We learned that we go into eternal bliss and we are free. You protect us. But Sache Pacha, please promise me this. Promise me this. That when I die and I'm about to breathe my last breath now, dying in this battlefield with my head in your lap, Sache Pacha, bless me in this way. Bless me. So that, no, I don't want liberation. No, bless me so I can be born in a Gursikh family again. So I can grow up reading your Bani, remembering, listening to your stories, and then fighting for you in battle and dying for you again, because this is pure bliss for me. Let me, and then when I die then, let me be born again so I can die for you. Let me be born again so I can die for you. Many great Mahapurukhs, Bhai Fauja Singh, Bhai Harman Singh, Sant Baba Harnam Singh, name it, on and on and on. Even in some historical texts, Shaheed Singhs and Singhaniya, they never go. These souls, if they were Shaheed during the genocides of the 1700s, they came back in the 1800s. Then they came back in the 1900s. And if they were Shaheed in the 1900s and 1984, Pyareo, they're being born now. Kalgidhar Pacha says that this Khalsa Panth is my flower garden. It has many flowers, but I'm the gardener and I take the responsibility that this flower garden will always be blossoming until the end. It will always blossom. It will always be fruitful. It will always be colorful. We don't need to be concerned that the Panth is going to be over, it's going to be ruined if somebody makes some funny video or says something like this. No. Keep that spirit of the Shaheeds in your heart, because they're here, they're in front of you. Hear them, see them. When you look out, when you see Sangat now, Pyareo, have you ever looked amongst Sangat and have you seen Baba Ajit Singh? Have you looked amongst Sangat and seen Bibi Sharan Kaur? Have you looked at the Tabia of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and have you seen Kalgitar Pacha sitting on top of them? looking at these faces of Baba Ajit Singh and Jujhar Singh in these Sangats. It's possible now, when the time comes, the Khalsa Panth will come out. They will protect the Chadar of Hindustan. They will protect those that are poor, that are unfortunate. They will get rid of the tyrants of the East and West. Your army will sit upon it, and it will rule. And everyone will take your Amrit. They will drink this nectar, experience blind, sublime bliss. Nobody will go away, nanga aur pukha koi na jawe. Nobody will go away hungry. And in this way, everything that seemed like Kaljug before, it will turn into Satyug. It will be the age of truth. This is the legacy of the Khalsa. This is the destiny of the Khalsa. The choice is, are you going to be a part of it, or are you going to turn your face away? That is my question to you. I want you to look at this fire. It burns, it crackles. Gursikhs, they deteriorate. This world will deteriorate. Par naam raheo, sadhu raheo Gur Gobind. These sadhus, naam, bhakti, kamai, bandagi karke, they've experienced sublime bliss, anand, parmanand. Anything that you attach to in this world, it is false. It's going to tear away. Pyareo, these shaheeds, these sadhus, they will never go away. Love them and attach yourself to them. Experience them. ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਬੇਨਤੀਆਂ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਭੁੱਲਾਂ ਚੁੱਕਾਂ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਾਫ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਖਸ਼ ਲਿਓ ਬਖਸ਼ ਲਿਓ ਬਖਸ਼ ਲਿਓ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਗੱਜ ਕੇ ਬੁਲਾਵੇ ਸੋਨੇ ਆਲਾ request to you, this ras that you have right now, what you're experiencing, what you're thinking about, don't lose it as soon as you walk out from here now. Keep that inside of your heart. When you go to sleep on your mattress tonight, sit on the foot side and place Mata Sahib Kaur Ji right on the pillow side. Read her Sohila Sahib, read her Kirtan Sohila. And then when you recite these words, bow down to Mata Sahib Kaur Ji in their beautiful feet. Place your head in Mata Sahib Kaur Ji's lap. When you place your head in her lap, experience Mata Ji putting her beautiful, soft, godly hands on your face and putting you to sleep. Sleep like this every night. When you wake up, see Kalgitar Parchar, Guru Ramdas Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji surrounding you, walking with you wherever you go. They never leave you. They're always with you. Jiske sir upar tu Swami, so dukh kaisa pave. Let's sing these panktiyan. Jiske sir upar tu Swami, so dukh kaisa pave. Sing it all the way till we get back. Do whatever you need to. Do your ablutions. Go to sleep singing this pankti. And just like Kalgitar Parchar, they were there in the middle of that jung. They did Asa Diwar. They did Japji Sahib. After Chamkaur di Gadi, after their Sahibzade they became Shaheed, guess what the first thing they did when they sat down? They said, it's time for Sodar. What are you guys talking about? It's time for Raras. When you wake up tomorrow morning, make sure you remember that and come to do Nitnem and Sangat. Make sure you wake up. Kal da Nitnem na chhaddiyo je aj tusi kuch sikhya hai. Jis ke sir ऊपर तू स्वामी सो दुख कैसा पावे, सो दुख कैसा पावे। जिसके सिर ऊपर तू स्वामी सो दुख कैसा पावे, सो दुख कैसा। सारी जपो जी। जिसके सिर ऊपर तू स्वामी सो दुख कैसा पावे, सो दुख कैसा पावे। कोना नहीं छड्डना, आपां सारे वापस तुरना। जिसके सिर ऊपर तू स्वामी सो दुख कैसा पावे, सो दुख कैसा पावे। जिसके सिर ऊपर तू